I've built this platform, and I'll move one of these just to show you. Chow down. So basically just built a big square frame. So I just bought, I believe it was 10 2x6s. So there's 4 to make the square frame. I got one in the middle going from one side to the other. They're 2x6 8-footers. And then I put 3 going across on this side and 3 going across on this side to meet up right where a 42-inch wide 4-foot long pallet would fit, because it's a pretty standard size and I can get a lot of those for free. So then I can put the pallets on top and stack my wood on that. And you'll notice underneath I have small concrete blocks that I put under there just to keep the whole structure off the ground and give it a little bit of airflow from underneath. And then when I finish that frame, my next step now is to take these cattle panels that I bought at a local tractor supply store for about $20 a piece. So I got 2 of those, and I'm gonna take those, and you can see, like I did with this one here, this one I built out of scrap pressure treated wood that I had, and I just had to buy the decking, and I'll just loop it over. I'm gonna screw it to the side. I'm actually gonna use some boards to hold the panel against the side. It'll loop it over, and then I bought a couple of heavy duty tarps, very thick tarps that will go over the top, and it has those metal grommets in them, and I can use some screws and washers to secure it, and zip ties to zip tie each side to the metal frame. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done. We're gonna go over to the lumber barn, which is the local hardware store. So me and Emma are gonna jump in the car. Go ahead, hop in. Me and Emma are gonna head down to the store, and we're working on building the woodshed for our yard. And the problem is, I guess it's not really a problem, it's just more looking for an easier way to do this. So the video I found on YouTube where I kind of learned how to build this woodshed, they used wooden boards to secure the metal frame to the wooden frame. And so I did that on the first build, and it's actually a lot more work to do it that way. So it's hard getting the cattle panel, the metal wire for the cattle panel, snug up against the wooden frame while you're screwing the wood in, because you actually have to drive the screw through the wood into the wooden frame of the floor of the woodshed, and that's kind of a pain to try to hold it all together while you're doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the hardware store. Hang on. You hang out right there for a minute. Buckle up for safety. We're going to head down to the hardware store. I'm going to see if there's some brackets. See if they have some sort of brackets that's going to make this process easier to do. Does that work? Yeah. So I definitely don't want to be struggling with this. It's about 30 degrees outside. Not really having a blast being out in the cold. So I want to try to do this as quick as I can, because then the next step is to stack all the lumber, or stack all the cordwood in the woodshed. And I know my wife and daughter are very eager to help me, because we had a good time working together doing it last time. Yeah, so we're just going to head down to the store, grab one of them brackets, or I don't know what exactly bracket I'm going to get yet. Something that will make this a lot easier than trying to do it the way I am now. So we're going to head down there, and we'll see you in a bit. So we went to the hardware store and got some stuff to hopefully make this a lot easier. And of course Emma got her lollipops, and we even got some treats for the dog.
2 dogs.
Or the 2 dogs. And
That's why we got 2 dogs.
we got some really bright sun in the face. Got some washers here. And the washers will be to screw the grommets for the tarps down to the wood to secure those. And then I picked up this roll of pipe hanger, but it's basically just a metal strap. It's like 10-foot roll of it with holes in it. And so what I can do is just cut sections of it off and use it as just like a little bracket to hold the 4-gauge wire for the cattle panel to the frame of the woodshed floor. And so that should do that. So we'll secure that with this hanger strapping, and once that is secured, we will then go back over and put the tarp over the top and secure that down with some screws and washers. At that point we should be good to get stacking. We're just about to pull back in here and we're gonna get set up to get this finished, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, like I said earlier, you got the floor of the woodshed built, and this is that cattle panel. Did you give Kyle his treat? Did you give him his milk bone? Did he like it?
I bet he did.
Alright, I'm going to shut the garage so we can keep some of the heat in here.
Lollipop.
Oh, the dog can't have a lollipop. Make sure you can see. So this is that metal bracket. Obviously it's got a sticker on the back of it, but these are holes. And so basically just cutting pieces of this hanger off, and it's going to go over. So we're going to attach it to the side of the frame here. Right here. We're going to secure it to make a loop like we did with the other one. And I'm going to basically put the bracket over like this, and then put screws in on either side to tighten it down. And that should hold it in place. So let's see how that works. Alright, so what I did was I secured it so far just to that 2x6 with this piece of hanger wire or hanger strap here. Just secured it with 2 screws, and it is really secure. I can't pull that out at all. And that's just to hold it in place till I get more of them on. I put another one on the other side, so now it'll hold in place nicely while I put a few more on. So I'm going to put a couple on the bottom side of them, probably do like 3 more. That should hold this side on good, and then we'll do the other one. That. And bend that off, put this over that wire, and put my screws through either side. These are making a good cheap brackets. About an inch and a half or so, and it comes with 10 feet for like $3. Super good deal. Alright. So we're gonna do this one right here. So I just want to make sure you can see how this works. You can see it's so tight, it's actually pulled the screws almost kind of bent just slightly, which is fine. That means there's a whole lot of tension on there. I'm pulling on that real hard. That's not going to come out, so these things are going to hold well. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to put a couple extra here when I overlap this other one. Right, Emma?
What?
So that one's up there now. We just got to get the other one up there. Yeah. Ratchet strap comes in handy. Hey Emma, can you just hold this, pull it towards you? Thank you. Alright, you can let go. Watch out, I don't want to hit you. Lift this up. Now, with the ratchet strap in place, this will stay. I'm going to fold it on top of the other one that I already put on. So, I'm going to have to let out slack and do that instead of unratcheting it. Actually, hook it onto a little bit higher up. Alright. Now I gotta make sure it's
Daddy,
overlapped
where's
with
the
the-
camera? Where's the camera that's on you?
over there.
Oh yeah, I see it. Now we're gonna
Now we're gonna make pudding.
no we're not.
No, that's not the next step.
No.
Why not? I like pudding.
But that's not next.
It really should be, because pudding's really got it. Especially chocolate pudding.
Oh yeah, I like chocolate pudding.
Watch out. Watch out, Emma. Nope, go that way, please. There we go. Now one's overlapped on the other. Of course, it's not straight yet, but we're gonna go grab some zip ties. And then we'll zip tie these together. And that will hold that a little bit more in place for me. Make it a lot easier to secure it down there. Once we do that, put the pallets back in, throw the tarps on. We're ready to take Scoop over here to the wood pile and get some wood. I have some more dry bucked up wood down there in the driveway. So once I get this full, I'm probably going to try to build a third one next weekend. And then split all that wood. And then fill up a third one. And by then I'll have about 7.5, 8 cord of hardwood firewood for the winter, which should get us through the rest of the winter. So I'm going to go grab some zip ties and we will be right back. So I'm guessing the sub-freezing temperatures are probably killing the battery on my cheap little action camera that I got. So you'll see by looking here that we finished the building of the woodshed and we started filling it. So basically I know I got some of it on camera, but basically those straps down there, as I showed you before, I secured the cattle panels to the frame with these pieces of metal hanger, and looped them over. And then what I did to get the second panel secured, which I think I did get on video, but I used some of these zip ties and just zip tied it in a few places to keep that one from moving around on me while I secured it on the side. So now you can see we're here on the inside, and I got this really heavy duty thick tarp on there, and then secured it to the cage with a couple of zip ties. And I am going to further secure it like I did on our other one here with some screws and washers right into the side of the board, and that works really well. So this one is completely finished and completely full, and it's holding up great. Hey Kyle, you gonna help me stack some wood this morning?
Yeah.
Alright, you can see, because of that work light sitting there, you can see we kind of worked late last night getting as much as we could in here. So we got about probably a quarter wood in here so far, and
$10 right
probably
there.
got a, I don't know, 2.5 cord or so, no, maybe 1.5, 2 cords of wood over there left to put in here. And then I have some more down in the driveway that I still have to split and stack, and they're already bucked up. It was from a couple of years ago. I actually bought some last time I bought wood, which I don't do anymore, but I actually bought some cordwood that was already bucked up, and so that still hasn't been split. We've actually had this other wood since then, so I haven't really needed to. But in order to stay ahead of my firewood, I want to get that split and stacked. So even if we don't use it this year, we're going to have it next year. And then we have loads more of firewood lying around everywhere, as you can see. Just, and I got to get these all cleaned up and picked up, but there's just logs. These logs everywhere. Some of them I might take and cut over on the mill. I don't know. We had a nice beech log here, so I might take that butt section of it, and maybe even the butt section of this other one here next. And then there's that big pile where the brush pile is, and then the big stump pile over there. There's actually a whole bunch of good firewood in there. And then down over the hill, so it's just lying around everywhere. There's a bunch of it here, so we probably got enough wood sitting on our property right now for at least the next couple of years for firewood. It just needs to be bucked up and split. Some of it's already even bucked up, so it should be nice and dry even when I go to split it. So that should give us a good start on next winter, and then next year I will start preparing for the winter after that. At some point I'd like to get 2 years ahead, so during one winter I have 2 years worth of wood already cut and split and stacked. So we're going to finish stacking up this woodshed, and yeah, I got my man Kyle here all pumped up and ready to rock.
Yeah.
So we're going to load up the tractor. I had the block heater plugged in all night, so hopefully it'll start nice for us. And then we're going to head over there with it and grab some of that, because we've had it sitting like that for a couple years, the way we've been doing it, and just covered it with plastic and metal roofing and stuff, and the metal roofing and the plastic blows off, and sometimes it captures moisture, and it's not working great. The wood is dry, but it's also a pain to get over there to get it, because it's just a mess over in the yard, which I do still have to clean up, but it'll be nice this year to have it. Kyle will help me clean up, but yeah, so we're going to go get some of that wood, stack it in here so it's nice and neat and dry and easy to get to. As you can see, the house is right here. and the woodshed's right here, and that wood's way over there in the muddy yard. And you imagine when it snows, you get 2-3 feet of snow on the ground. That's just a real pain to get to. We're gonna have the driveway obviously kept nice and clean so we can drive through. So we know we'll be able to walk down the driveway, and the woodsheds are only about maybe 10 feet, 8 or 10 feet off the driveway. So they should always be fairly easily accessible. So this is going to be nice to have. I might build a third one before winter, before we get heavy snow, but that'll all be dependent on Mother Nature and how well she cooperates with us. So we're gonna go get started. I'm gonna set you up here. Hopefully you can see what we got going on up here. And we're gonna get loaded up. Here we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you over here by yourself. Alright. So, I'll do all the hard work and you guys can watch. I actually love this stuff anyway. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, let's get this puppy full. You might see some of this burnt wood. We actually had a forest fire here earlier in the year, and so we had a pile of cordwood over by where the fire was, and it burned a lot of it up. But even though it's burnt, it'll still work, it'll still burn, probably even drier. Alright, so you guys can ride with me this time. How's that? So in a few minutes I'll probably talk to you about the tractor, since I haven't really talked about it yet. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about it and why I got it. Alright, so we're going to get moving over. Oh, but I'm going to let my buddy Kyle in, because Kyle has my coffee. And that's important. Kyle's important too, though. So. You alright?
Yeah.
You going to join me and my friends in here? We got our friends with us. You brought my coffee, so that's your pass to get in. Can you want to hold our friends for us? Say hi to them and hold the camera.
Hi.
You're gonna show them how they get around.
So we're just gonna back up and turn there, and then we're gonna back up and turn to our face. The backhoe is facing that way. And so we can unload those pieces of wood.
Alright, we're going forward.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go. get on a phone. I'm like, oh, here we go. I get on a run. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh.
Alright. So we're going to kick it off. Here, you go up down. Let me see. It's alright. Alright, so this is the part that takes a little bit longer than loading, because I don't just pick them up and throw them in. We gotta pick them up and stack them in. So usually one of us will stand inside there while the other one brings the wood in to the person stacking it. So
I'll stack it.
you gonna stack it today? Alright, man.
What about the black one?
You might want gloves for that. So inside here you're going to notice there's a space between the pallets, and what we do to overcome that and be able to stack it in that spot, if you can see there, we basically just take pieces of cordwood and lay them in there, and then that makes that center floor, which is fine because then the wood's going to get a bunch of air from underneath too, so that's not a bad thing. So we're going to finish this row here. Looks like the back row needs a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah. The small pieces should be more on the top because it could fill it in. And it's like little cracks.
Yep. I mean, some gaps is not a big deal, but it's actually good to have some airflow through here, but it's nice to keep it as full as you can, because the more you can get in here, the better. We're going to check out the back, make sure it's holding up okay and not falling all out and everything. So it looks like we're holding up good back here. It's got a little bit of an overhang on the top, which is nice, because that will help keep any runoff and stuff blowing in. But overall it should be pretty good. And we could even pull from the back and the front, and this way when we do that, then there's no wood on the edges to get wet. But oh, look at that, there's a chipmunk living in our wood stack. Hey Kyle,
What?
there's a chipmunk sticking its head out of the wood pile over here. Oh, it just went back in. Oh, it's poking its head out again. I don't know if you can see that, but say hi to the little chipmunk guy. Alright. So while you're checking out the chipmunk, I'm going to quickly just talk about the tractor actually before we get into the wood. So I'm just going to go over this real quick, but so I got this really good deal, and luckily it was only about 3 miles away from my house. So I just threw a tractor plate on it and registered it for like $14 and drove it home, way cheaper than having it transported by trailer. And the machine weighs about 15,000 pounds, so there was no way I was going to tow it home, because I got nothing that can tow that. It runs on diesel. The engine's been recently rebuilt. The tires are in pretty good shape. One of them has a slow leak. About once a week I got to put air in it, but that's not a big deal. I mean, I got this for about 10% of what they cost brand new, so I'm not going to complain if there's little quirks and things. The dipper cylinder, they call it, the cylinder that was on here, you can see it connected to there and goes up there. It's actually over in my wife's car and Stacy's car right now. I had it repaired and brought it back. I just haven't put it back on, but the cylinder was leaking pretty heavily, so I was losing a lot of hydraulic fluid. So I brought that down to be repaired. It was cost me a couple $100, but for the thousands that I saved on buying this machine used, it's still way more than paying for itself. This will always do more than I need it to, which is nice to have. Then you don't have to worry about, not having a big enough machine for what you need. And the bucket I think they said it holds about 1.5 yards of material, but for our purpose, I think it holds about a half a cord of wood. And the loader can lift, they say about 7,000 pounds up to, I think, 13 feet in the air. So it will lift any log I ever need to lift. Some of the bigger logs that I have might weigh 3,000 or 4,000 pounds. So we're looking at like half the capacity of what this machine can lift. It's got the outriggers, so when you're running the backhoe, you drop the outriggers down, and you can go to town digging. It'll lift the whole machine up off the ground. Actually, I can lift all 4 wheels of this whole machine right off the ground by putting the bucket down and the backhoe down, and it'll lift the whole thing up. The cab's heated, so it's going to be great because I can use the bucket to plow our driveway, which is like 300 feet long, and I can push the snow, pick it up, lift it, and dump it over on the other side of the property. If we end up with too much snow, I can get it right out of the way with this bucket. I can lift my logs with it. I can move cordwood around with it. I'm going to excavate this hill behind the house at some point, take some of these trees out, and that will help a lot with drainage. I'm going to lower this part of the yard here so it slopes away from the house, because I'd like to turn this whole thing into a nice big yard for the family. And we just purchased the lot of land next door. I should say we're going to in about 3 days. We're closing on it. An additional 2 acres next door. So that's where I'm probably going to end up building my workshop. I'm hoping to do a post and beam workshop. And I've actually been watching another YouTube channel, the Tradesman Channel 2017. I'll put a link to that in the description because I think you guys might find his channel pretty interesting too. But I want to do kind of the same thing he's really doing, is maybe put down a slab and then build a workshop on it, do kind of the core of it, timber frame, and mill all the timbers off of my mill, and then you know, go from there, build it out, sheathe it, side it. He's actually at the sheathing stage now, so that's pretty awesome. So I'm hoping that next year I can get started on that. It's probably going to take me, I would imagine, a couple years to put together, doing it by myself, but having this machine here, I'll be able to lift everything up and hold it in place while I'm building it. So it's going to be like my second set of hands, or probably my 5th set of hands. But yeah, that's a whole lot of update for you. Winter's getting here, so my biggest concern right now is getting the yard cleaned up and getting all this wood stacked and getting prepared for winter. So anyway, we're going to get to it. And we got a newcomer joining us. Come on. You okay? Say hi.
Hi.
Emma's going to join us. All right, now we got a real team. All right, let's do it. Time for work. Let's get her done. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't put out a video out in at least probably 2 or 3 weeks. We've had a lot of few family issues and things we've been dealing with, among also getting ready for winter, which is always a task. And as you can see in this video, this is one of the tasks that we had. I also had some car repairs I needed to do and things like that, so I was trying to get some things in order. But I plan on getting back to getting some more videos out. I'm on vacation this week, so I plan on getting a lot of projects done, and you'll hopefully see some more videos this week. So I really appreciate you sticking with me through all this. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you enjoyed this video, go ahead and check out some of the other ones that we have on the channel. I think you'll like those too. Also consider subscribing if you do enjoy these videos. Hit that bell icon, you'll be notified when I put more videos out. And if you like the video, it really helps when you hit the like icon, the thumbs up button. It really helps bring attention to the channel and get us out there a bit more. So I do appreciate you watching. I enjoy sharing these things with you, and I will see you on the next video, I hope. See you soon. Thanks. Take care.